remember the guy, he pulled me to the side. A guy named was Gary, and he said, he goes, "Yeah, man, how long you been at this for? A while, right?" And I was like, "Nah, man." I was like, "Honestly, like it's just something I do. Like I'm just messing around with it. Like it's just nothing crazy." He goes, he goes, he's like, "You got a future in this," and he was really hard on me like throughout. So you know how like when people see something in you, they
Yeah.
kind of like on you, bust your balls a little bit. So he was like, I stayed on you a lot. He goes, but he goes, you stayed with it, and I'll never forget what he said to me. He goes, you got something that's lacking in this business. He goes, and it's called humility.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mastermind Thinks Podcast. We're super excited to have you guys back with us today. Man, we've been having a good time. We've been having some dope guests on, and look, today is going to be no less. I'm excited about who we have on today. Like most of our guests, I've met Eddie here on the internet. It's the gateway drug to real life relationships, and so I'm super excited. So today, again, we got Eddie McCargo out of Jersey. Yo, I'm super excited. Eddie, how are you today, man?
I'm good, brother. How about you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. One, obviously, as always, I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of things moving, and so, man, let's jump right into it, man. Tell the people who's Eddie. What do you got going on right now? What's up with you?
Oh yeah, man. So basically, once again, thanks for having me. Really excited to be on this platform. But yeah, basically, man, Eddie is Concrete Core Fitness. Pretty much born and raised, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Did spend some time living in Germany actually, which was a cool experience a little bit when I was younger. But born Elizabeth, New Jersey, single parent household. Raised by my mom. Heavy influence from my grandparents, who were from the deep South, Halifax, Virginia, and Hazelhurst, Georgia. So, really a lot of my foundation, my morals basically comes from having that foundation of the single parent mom. My mom was strict, that typical like be home before the street lights come on, you're gonna work, don't get no trouble, stay out of them streets. But then that combination of having that, that those Southern grandparents, you're gonna be in church every Sunday. I don't give a damn what you did Saturday. You're gonna be up. You're gonna be there, and just that was really like the foundation, which kind of ties into which I'm sure that we'll get into, why fitness, why Concrete Core Fitness, and really what I set out to do with that. Basically comes from that foundation, and then experiences that kind of push me into the world of fitness to where now having the business and been doing this now for a few years.
Yeah, that's super dope. Let's jump into it. Like, one, how long have you been doing Concrete Core?
Concrete Core Fitness, in terms of like the brand, has been around now for going on about 3.5 years. I've been around fitness for well over 10 years.
Yeah.
Uh, I was a late bloomer for sure. Like high school, growing up, early 20s, was never into fitness. I was
Yeah.
that skinny kid now. Like most of my family and friends and people that like know me from back in the day that grew up with me, if you would ask them, this would be the even my mama is like the last thing I thought you would have ever been was like a personal trainer and having your own fitness business. So yeah, it's been around for 3 years, and it's kind of an interesting way in terms of like how I got into fitness. Like I said, I was raised single parent mom, and then when I got around about like 13, my godfather, who was always present in my life, but he took a even bigger role in my life, stepping up, being that father figure. So when I reference like my dad or my father, I'm more so referencing him because he did come into my life at a pivotal time, when a lot of things was going on. And he kind of, like my mom to this day is the strongest woman that I ever met. But even you get to a point at a certain age as a young man, you know what I'm saying? Like you need that male figure to kind of come in. So he kind of came in and kind of like guided me, along the way. I became a father at a very young age. So he kind of stepped in at that point, helped me out a lot with that. And a lot of my work ethic comes from seeing like how hard like he worked. He owned his own business. He owned the car wash. So I started working there when I was like 9, and he was a big part of my life. He was never sick. Never seen him cry. Never like he was just always on point. And then I want to say maybe about like it'll be 11 years now. Um, One day was on the phone with him, like how we always did. We big sports people, so we would do our recaps over the weekend about the sports. And it's like a Sunday night. Talk to him, everything was normal. Get the call from my mom the next day that they found him dead in his car from home.
Wow.
So in addition to like his hard work ethic and everything that he did, one thing that he didn't do was that he didn't take care of himself. Typical like go to the doctor when he gets sick, work every day, not really, and that kind of when I saw what happened to him, and he was only 51 years old. And speaking primarily for my family, my environment, being African American male, like fitness is not really, yeah, we'll get swole. That's probably like the extent of it, lifting weights, but never a big emphasis on health, wellness, mental health, things of that nature. So when he passed, it kind of like struck something in me, because even though I was always the thin guy, I ate whatever I wanted, never really took conscious of that stuff. It it brought up a lot of things mentally, and then I went to do my health check, and that's when I went to the doctor, got the physical, everything like that, and then that kind of set me. That was kind of the first wave of being set on the fitness journey. Was really just about making sure what happened to him didn't happen to me. That was like my initial reason for wanting to get into fitness, and immediately transformed like my body. I went from weighing 153 pounds, shot all the way up to like 190. And then the focus on that was more just like it was like mental. It was therapy. And because I was never the athlete, I was never the biggest, strongest guy in the gym, anything like that. I had to be really particular about how I worked out, how I trained, and it forced me to learn a lot. Not knowing at that time what I would get into later on, and it kind of just started from there. It evolved. Fast forward, because I was just on the grind of like weight training and stuff like that. And then when my second son was born, he was actually he was a preemie, so he was born 7 weeks. He was born at 7 weeks, and he was like maybe like 2.5 pounds. And he spent 45 days in the NICU. And I remember when I would go in and visit him every day, um, I would see the nurse, and she was super fit. I used to be like, "Damn, like what are you doing?" So then she kind of introduced me to this forum. It was called Papas for Preemies, and it was a Facebook forum where like dads provided support. Because anybody that's ever been in that situation, rightfully so, so much emphasis is placed on the child and then the mom, but there's not really like that much support for the dads in that situation. So she kind of introduced me to that, and that's when she kind of introduced me to CrossFit, which at that time was new. It wasn't as popular as it became. And what that did, man, that was probably one of the best things for me in terms of fitness, because what that did was not only did it expose me to a new world and a new community surrounding fitness, not just going into the gym by itself. I'll be completely honest with you, because it was expensive, and I was fortunate enough at the time to be able to afford it. But now it opened up a whole world of fitness, because now you're working out amongst people that are professionals, and not only are they doing this, but they're doing yoga, they're eating a certain way, they're doing all these certain things. So that exposure, it exposed me to so many different aspects, elements of fitness and wellness, and being around those people, which at the time there wasn't really a strong black and brown presence, at least where I was doing it in the area in terms of that. So kind of seeing that, learning from that, that exposed me, and it taught me a lot about community, because within like one thing about CrossFit is like it's a big community. But some people be like, oh, yo, that shit's a cult, but it's really not. It's just more like people coming in for community. So from there, kind of just expanded more, learned more about fitness. And at the time, I was going back. I was doing my undergrad. I was going for getting my bachelor's in public relations, because I was at the time I was working. I was in the union, electrical union with Verizon. So I had like steady job, all that stuff, learning. And then from there, man, it kind of just went. Fast forward, stayed in the game, learned a lot, stayed with it. Uh, and then I would always be the guy in the gym to like help people out, or like promote the gym. This was even before like Instagram and all that. I was very much like a big like personality within whatever gym it was that I was at the time. And people would always say, why don't you do training? Why don't you do coaching? Why don't you this? You can't do that. Never really wanted to get into it. So fast forward, like most people, the pandemic hits. So pandemic hits, everybody's on lockdown. So the gym that I was at the time, they allowed us to we could rent out the equipment and bring it home. So one of my friends, he was an attorney. He had a Zoom account. So we would go on Zoom, program the workouts. We do the workouts every day. Me and him. Sometimes we invite other people. Kind of like snowball from there. And then once the parks started to open up, I started to train people in the park. And one of the biggest driving force behind me doing that is my best friend, my brother Nick. Shout out to him. Was we would have conversations about starting our own business because he was into sound meditation, sound bath healing, and stuff like that. And then I had the fitness aspect of it. And one day we were just having a conversation, and he was just like, "Yo, you started up. I'll be your first client." So I remember that conversation, man. And then, like I said, this was like the dead. I think the parks just opened up. There was a park opened up right by the way. And I hit him up one day. I was like, "Yo, let's just go to the gym." And I think I had a jump rope. I had a kettlebell. I had this one thing. It's called the steel mace. Because at the time during COVID, you couldn't even get equipment because people was charging through the roof.
Yeah.
So boom, I get that. I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing, man. Like in terms of like, and I don't know why I was so nervous because this was like this was my bro. I knew him 10, 15 plus years, but for some reason I was just nervous. And I think because he wasn't even working out at the time. So we went to the park. It was hot as hell that day. Threw a little workout together for him. And we just did the workout. It went good. I remember I went back. I think I posted like a clip to like, Instagram. This was even like before Reels, all that stuff. And then a friend of mine somebody that I had went to college with years ago, she was like, "Oh, you're working out?" She's like, "I'm dying to work out. My gym is closed." So I was like, "Okay, boom." She came out. A girl that I had, she was a barber. She might cut my hair like a few times. She saw it, boom, hit me up. Then another person hit me up. So then before you know it, it was kind of moving where I think I had maybe about like 3, 4 clients at the time. Who was in the park. I still at that time I had left Verizon and I was teaching at a trade school, so we was online. We was doing virtual learning, so I was still trying to pretty much make it work through the process. And it was kind of just going, and then it went from like my best friend to before I know it, man. I think I had maybe about like 8 clients. I had people
Nice.
on. I remember my aunt who's like in her mid 60s. She wasn't working out, but she just wanted to support. I was doing virtual. She lived in Atlanta. So we jumped on the FaceTime and me and Auntie did a little session. I posted that. People saw that. So then I had people online. So it kind of just happened organically. And if I'm going too much, jump in. Let me.
No, no, no. You good? You look. You laughing because I was literally about to ask a question, and you literally answered it before I asked. Because I was going to say, "What was the transit?" And you was like, "Oh," and I was doing this and work. So that's dope. So as you were doing this, like, was just happening, like for you, right? Like, or how intentional were you about like this about to be a business versus like, yeah, I'm just doing something I enjoy and get paid.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Uh, when I first started it, I wasn't even really charging people because, to be completely honest with you, like the first couple months, um, I uh, I had people coming to the park. This was during the height of COVID. Um, I had I had moved, because I was one of the COVID divorce casualties. So I was going through that. So a lot of it, really, to be completely honest with you, I wasn't really charging people because it was for everything that I was going through on the personal side. Like it was kind of like a coping mechanism. I had my job. I was fortunate. I was blessed that I still had my job through COVID. We was doing a virtual learning. I was getting paid, and everything was on freeze, from the government, whether it was, all the benefits that we had at the time. So it was kind of just something to do because wasn't nothing else, besides like, spending time with my kids and working virtually, which wasn't really, it was just something to do. And I really like enjoyed helping people, even once it started to expand beyond like my friends and family, people that I knew directly. It was kind of just something that, I was doing. I wasn't charging people. And I didn't actually start charging people because what I would do was once it started to grow and it was more people, I was like, okay, boom, like I need more equipment. So believe it or not, what I did in the beginning was I actually did Uber and Lyft. So I would go
Yeah.
out, I would go online, I'd be like, okay, boom, this person on Facebook Marketplace or Amazon, whatever, they're selling a kettlebell for $60. So I would find it, I message the person, yo, this still available? They'd be like, okay, cool. So then I would say, all right, bet $60. Boom, jump in the car. I'll drive Uber, Lyft. Once I made $60, boom, I'll turn the app off, hit the person up, and then you know what I'm saying, like go. That was kind of how I did it. And then I started like realizing I was like, because that Uber shit sucks. So I was like, maybe I'll just charge people, like 20, $25 here and there, nothing crazy. And then that's kind of where the money started, you know, coming in. Like I said, I wasn't charging people nothing crazy, and now things start opening back up. A gym that I was at the time, they were open, but they were very much more of like a social gym. So I think around that time, I spoke to one of my previous coaches that I had about getting my certification. So I was like, listen, everything's on shutdown. We still not open yet. So I'm gonna use this time to just get certified knowledge. So I did that, found another gym that I checked out. I went there. I kind of liked the scope of that gym, but I was like, let me stay at my other place right now, and but I knew that that gym was there, so started doing that, and then what actually started to happen was it was getting cold, and believe it or not, man, I think this was the first moment to your question. Will it really hit me that it might have been something bigger than just a hobby per se? Was it was getting cold, and one of my clients, pretty much most of them, but one of my clients in particular that our relationship kind of manifested through just the training. Like we knew each other briefly before that, but not really that well. And she was at the time she was recovering from hip surgery. And I remember, man, it was in Jersey get cold, northeast.
Right, right, right.
I remember we was going into like December, January, and like there was a few people that was rocking with me coming outside, but they was like dropping off. And I remember, man, she would come out. I remember one day in particular, she came out and it was a cold morning, and she was bundled up, and we was working out. And then I posted that, and then from now on, other people hit me, and that was kind of like the first moment where I was like, damn, you might have something here, because I know this is hard for her, but she's coming out. And this was someone that like I had met her in a gym previously, so she had knowledge of fitness. So boom, that was kind of the first step. And then I think the second biggest thing that happened was the gym that I had visited is a gym called Aesthetic Temple. Shout out to them. And I had went there and I did like a drop in. I did the workout. I met the owner's wife, Mindy. Shout out to Mindy, and we just had a little like conversation. And I was just like, yeah, I do some personal training. Boom, boom, boom. I think at the time I had dwindled down now to like 5 clients, so I didn't even really think, I was back to working now. All of that stuff. And she was just like, hey, listen, it's getting cold. She says, if you ever want to bring your people here, you know, you bring them. And I was like, at the time, I really didn't, pay it any mind or whatever. So then after a while, now it's getting cold, the weather. I had like where in the building that I live in, we had a little gym down there, but it was like a rinky dink gym. Like the heat and shit didn't work, but
Yeah.
people were still coming in there too. So it was kind of crazy, man. And then one day I told like one of my clients, one of my day ones, the second girl that started training with me, I was like, hey, listen, come to this gym. Went back, talked to Minnie. She goes, yeah, bring your people. So I was like, yeah, I'll probably do it in like 2 weeks. So I kid you not, man. I think I had only met Mindy one time, maybe once or twice prior to that, and I would, work out in the gym. So she didn't even have my phone number at the time. So she gets my contact through another friend of mine, and she goes, hey, listen, one of my coaches hurt his shoulder. There's a seminar at my gym this weekend for like personal trainers and coaches. She was like, it's normally like an $800 to $900 seminar. She goes, but I know you're into personal training. Why don't you just come in, take the seminar? Don't worry about it. So I was like, all right, cool. So I go in, I take the seminar. And it was a couple people, that was running the seminar, like well-known people within the fitness industry. One of the main guys who was running it, he used to be like an athletic trainer for like the Lakers, the Dodgers, really, really, really known guy. And I came in, I took the seminar, and it was good. I learned a lot, and then that exposed me to the professional side of personal training. So after that, I was like, all right, cool. This is dope. There's like a world in this
Yeah.
that's outside of local. And then I remember the guy. He pulled me to the side. A guy named was Gary, and he said, he goes, yeah, man, how long you been at this for? A while, right? And I was like, nah, man. I was like, honestly, like it's just something I do. Like I'm just messing around with it. Like it's just nothing crazy. He goes, he's like, you got a future in this. And he was really hard on me like throughout. So you know how like when people see something in you, they
Yeah.
kind of like on you, bust your balls a little bit. So he was like, I stayed on you a lot. He goes, but he goes, you stayed with it. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He goes, you got something that's lacking in this business. He goes, and it's called humility. You're humble. And I was like, at the time, I was just like, all right, whatever, man, fitness guru,
Right.
talking about. I was like, all right, man, peace, we good. So fast forward, bring that first client in there, and then from there, man, it really it took off more because now there was a place, and they're well known. They was established, like her and her husband, Mike. Shout out to him, Mike Brown said Temple. Like he's like a MMA fighter, like celebrity trainer. So for them to welcome me in there, and at the time it wasn't even about a business thing. It was really on the humble, like where she was just like, yo, come. Like, I think like I said, at that time I was down to me about like 5 clients, in terms of like consistency. And that opportunity there, that was like the second, moment for me where it really hit. And I was, because now it's one thing to have people that support you, that are your friends or your family,
Yeah.
but get the support of people that got skin in the game, and it's been their life's work, for them to be like, not even knowing you, yo, come in. They see potential in you, whatever business opportunity, whatever it was. But at the time, man, that was big for me. And I think from there, that was like the second, domino, to where I was like, okay, I'ma still stay with this, but just at the time, it really wasn't, you know, uh, like an official,
Because you're
thing.
still working at this time, right? Because you said you got back to work and then.
I'm still working. It starts growing. Now I'm picking up more clients. People in the gym are seeing what I'm doing. The respect is growing for the business. Things are starting to open up a little bit more. I'm still working, and then actually, so fast forward, now we're going into like the summer. So at the time now, I'm literally, I would take a client at 5 in the morning, 6 a.m. Then I would change at the gym, drive 50 minutes to my main job, work there because I was teaching. I would work from like 8 to 2, get out at 2, drive another 50 minutes back down to the gym because I had a break. I had a break from like, I would finish up there like 2:30, give or take, and then the next class wouldn't start again till like 7:30 at night. So now I would drive back up, train 2 people, drive back down sometimes because now I'm growing. There was people at the school, students, they wanted me to train them. So I was just like finding ways to fit the training in, not really, knowing I'm still just doing it off the love. And, there's money coming in, but nothing, crazy at the time.
Yeah.
And doing that. And then fast forward a few months later, I get laid off from my main job. This was, I think it was around like July. So now I'm like, shit. So going back to them roots, the church, I prayed on it, hit my mom up, and I said, all right, I said, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna still, cause I'm old. That's another thing too. All of this is going on. Like I'm 40 now, so this is going on, man. This is like I'm at the time I'm 36, 37, uh, you know, divorced, 2 small kids. I have my oldest son, he's older. And so this is like real life. This ain't, what I mean, this ain't the 20, no disrespect nobody, but this ain't the 22-year-old. This is grown ass man. Like, so I'm like, listen, this personal training thing is cool, but you got to eat, you got kids. And I said, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I said, I'm gonna honest to God, man, I said, I'm gonna leave it up to God, bro. I said, I'm gonna go hard with my resume, interviewing, putting it out there, but I'm gonna go equally as hard with Concrete Core Fitness. And whatever hits first, that's how I'm gonna decide, uh, what I'm gonna do. And eventually, the whole Concrete Core Fitness thing, it won out. But I think one of the biggest blessings during that time frame was it taught me to constantly like evolve within the brand, creating the apparel, creating online programming, uh, just constantly not just being set on, okay, I'm a personal trainer, got clout on IG, got clout on social media, got a few clients here, money's coming on. It was really about survival, but at the same time, because I had people that started with me from the beginning, yes, it was manifesting itself into a business, but I still wanted to maintain that foundation that brought them people in. Because if you flip it up and then you change, the people that's really rocking with you, from the beginning, they're gonna see that shit out. They're gonna know that this ain't who you are, because that was never me. My thing was always make you feel good, give you quality workout, keep you entertained, laughing, all of that. And even from the very beginning, even through like my social media platform, my presence, it was always about the clients. It was always about the community. Going back to what I mentioned to you before about learning that community through CrossFit. So that was the when I made the decision to make this an official brand and an official thing. I gave it a name. I didn't do any not that there's anything against people that do that, but for me, my philosophy was different. I said I'm going to create that community, and that was concrete core fitness where
Yeah, but
where
that's super important because I feel like the community piece is what helps get more people bought in, right? Because like you said, you already had the day ones, right? But
Mm.
it's like, all right, cool, but I need to make more money. Like this is this. All right. So let me ask you this: so where are you now, business wise? Like, are you what's your style of like the fitness side? I know you said you mentioned the apparel. Like, what all do you have going on in there now?
Yeah, right now, man, it's full blown. It's a legitimate business, Concrete Core Fitness LLC. Like it's a brand, and of that brand, you have Concrete Core Fitness, which is the basis. That's personal training, um, and I have people that I train at Aesthetic Temple that come there because it's convenient for them. I have people that I go to. If they have a gym in their house, if they rent a condo and in their condo development there's a gym there, I go there. I don't really do too much of the online stuff um, anymore. And then I have contracts. I work with a company called Healthy Body, Healthy Mind. And what one of the things that they do is they help youth that are, they have some issues, and they got, kicked out of school, so they're working on their GED. So one of the things that we do with them, and in a partnership that I have with them, is that we do 2 hour sessions. The first hour is focused on nutrition, mental health, and then the second hour we do fitness. So if it's me and one of the other coaches there, we're putting together workouts for them. We do the boxing. That's an entity. The apparel has taken off and do really well. This is like the signature hoodie. And then we have other things that we do. Like last year, we did a Black History Month um, T-shirt and hoodie for that. There's Concrete Kids now. I created that. I have a fitness program for kids. Where I work with kids. We do fitness. We do boxing, and then there's Concrete Kids apparel. Um, and then something else that I do with the business is that back in October, I had my first hosted my first fitness competition. It was called the Concrete Games. So we did that. That was a big hit. We had I had about 25 teams of two. We had three different. We had a male division and we had a female division, comprised of 25 teams. They competed for cash prizes. I brought in sponsors. One of my biggest supporters is Bella Rococo Salon and Amelia's. They came in. They were a huge supporter. I had 6 vendors there at the event. The Concrete Exchange podcast. I have that. I just did my 11th episode. Uh,
Nice.
where with that is I bring in similar platform where I bring in everyday people, whether they're entrepreneurs, even if they're not, just working people, and basically they come on the podcast and they tell their story about like the impact that fitness had on their lives. And then through that, we do the Fit Mom series, where I'll bring on women and they just tell their journey, because I think that's vital for all. But I'm really big on highlighting that, because of my grandmother and my mom, and honestly too, man, in this game, in this fitness game, on the personal training side, for me and for most people, my peers or colleagues that I know, the bulk of your clientele is female. You do get I do have like male clients, but and just off the strength for that, I work with a lot of women that they're inspirational, man. These women, they have careers, they're professionals. Uh, I'm training a woman right now who, it's funny, like she started with me after having a kid, and she's been training with me now. I think like going over like it's almost like 3 years, and now she's pregnant, and we're still training periodically. So to kind of see that determination that they have. Another thing that I have going on Saturday, April 15th, is another fitness competition, but this one is all female teams, and it's called the Concrete Queen. And basically from that, you know, looking to get like right now, I think we have enrollment registration still open. It's been open now for almost a month, and I have 15 teams registered, and they're going to compete. There's 3 workouts they're going to do, cash prizes. Um, I'm also using it as a platform to like promote female entrepreneurs. So all the vendors that are going to be there, they're predominantly female-owned local businesses, and that's kind of something that started last year. We had the Concrete Queen Challenge, where I have for Women's History Month. Uh, you had to nominate a woman. So let's say like you want to honor your mom, wife, whoever, and you had to do 10 burpees uh, every day for the entire month. And that alone had over 30 participants. I had people doing it locally. I had people on vacation. I had a client of mine who was at the time, she was in boot camp for the National Guard. She had them posting on Instagram. So it's a full blown thing, man. It's a community. It's a business with multiple layers, and really just staying to that. My foundation and my philosophy is really just about helping people, man, and using fitness as a tool to help with that mental, you know, wellness aspect of it. Yes, the physical, 100%. But at the end of the day, man, when people come in and they work out with me, whether they take a session, whether they're participating in the concrete games or concrete clean competition, it's really just about people, feeling good at the end of the day. If it's that hour time that they spend with me, I want them to feel better at the end of that hour than they did when they came in. Not just on the physical sense, but the mental aspect, because people deal with a lot of shit. And for me, if I can somehow within that hour, if I can somehow disconnect you from the negative shit that you've been dealing with, and for that hour, you just focusing on on yourself, on your mental health, your physical health, then like my job is done. And that's where that community aspect comes from, because it's one of my slogans I always say is like it's more than concrete, it's more than fitness. It's way more than that. Um, Something I think about.
Man, that's super dope. And so, like, cause I like how you dove into a bunch of the things that you're doing. It's not about it's I think what I get from you is it's not just about the business, right? You're doing your business, you're handling your business, but like how deep it is about the mindset thing for people of getting them into fitness and how important fitness is. And I appreciate that because I know in this journey, right? Like I'm in my late 30s. I'm got 4 kids, like, and I'm like, man, I wish I'd have took health more seriously back then. And now it's like I feel like I'm playing catch up to get in shape, right? To get so that's important, man. Just tell the people, like, just give 'em one little thing about the fitness as the entrepreneurs, the business owners, why they need to think about it now and don't push it off till later. Like, oh, I'm gonna build a business and then come back to health. Like, why is it important now?
The health aspect, you mean?
Yeah, the health aspect.
Because everything is in line, man, with your health. No matter what it is that you want to do. You know, especially to your question, especially in terms of like entrepreneurship. Not to take away, because I've done all three phases. I worked in trade, grueling, back-breaking work, 70+ hour work week, coal, all that, union, done that. Worked in education, completely different than that, to now being an entrepreneur, being our own business. And each one of those things that I could say is that doing the physical job, your health and wellness is important, because you need to get through the day-to-day grind of it on the physical aspect, but also the mental. Teaching, where there's not necessarily so much of a physical enduring job, but the mental, you need to be able to process. And then in terms of like an entrepreneur, is that, and yourself, there's no like there's no clock. There's no like you start at this time, you're off at this time.
Yep.
uh like me and my lady, like we're fortunate, we blessed, we like to travel a lot. But even understanding that, it's like there's no PTO days. So it's
Right.
like, yo, I'm gonna run over here for 10 days a week, whatever. Uh, you know, you losing money. So, when you come back, you gotta make. So really, to your point, that you don't want to put it off later. And because the biggest aspect of health, whether it's mental or physical, is its routine. It's accountability and it's routine. Those are the two biggest, in my personal opinion, those are the two biggest factors of it. And routine, repetition. So where I find how so many people get discouraged from fitness is that they'll say to themselves they could spend a whole significant amount of time not being in shape, or not having the regimen of saying, okay, these 3 days out of the week I train. They say they'll jump all in and try to just, all right, I ain't never worked out. It's been 5 years, but you know what? I'm going to sign up to LA Fitness, or I'm going to sign up to a personal trainer. I'm going to drop all this money and I'm going to be here 4 or 5 days a week, and boom, let's go. Let's rock. And then usually what happens is, for most people, they burn out, and then they become discouraged. And once you're discouraged mentally and physically, now it becomes even a greater challenge to have to get up every day and especially when like you said, entrepreneur, there's no clock, and it's just you. So you have to make sure that your foundation is strong mentally, physically, and you don't want to put off that routine and that accountability. Going back to the original story, like with my dad, that was something that he did. He checked all the boxes: business owner, check; work hard, check; successful business, check; giving other people opportunity, check. But he never took that time to take care of himself. So when his heart issues started to develop, it was too late, and then he passed. So that's always something for me that I think about constantly, and that's what I try to give to my clients. The first thing that I do with anybody that ever messages me for one of the personal training sessions is the first thing that I do is I say, okay, what days and times can you come in? And then I go in and I look at my schedule, and then I go back, because just that alone, that's alleviating the initial stress of time. You just tell me what days and what time can you come in, and then I'm gonna check what I gotta check, and then I'll get back to you, and then we take it from there, and you kind of alleviate that. And I would say the same thing too. To your question, like with entrepreneurs, is just like my personal opinion, like going through it, is that time management, man, is because when you love what you do, you will like.
You get lost in it, man.
Oh, 100%, man. A hundred percent. Like, this is the only thing that I've ever done in my life that I would do it for free if I could. You know what I mean? And hey, sometimes any entrepreneur will tell you, sometimes you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially so that time management and taking that time for yourself and not getting lost in it. Definitely.
Bro, I appreciate it, man. And what look, man, I appreciate that because your story just it hits me in so many different ways, and like, I just appreciate you being, transparent and sharing that because I know a lot of times what we try to do is we try to get that story because I feel like people will see other people doing it and they
Hmm.
go, "Oh, well, I can't do that. I can't. He already going. He already got concrete core fitness. Like I can't do that." And you're like, "Well, he's one man in Jersey. Like he doing this thing in there. Like you in Cali. You can do your business. Like and to hear what you've been able to overcome and kind of walk through. I appreciate you sharing that, man. Man, tell the people, man, where can they find you? Where can they connect with you and see what you got going on and stay connected with you?
Oh, definitely, man. So first, definitely, Instagram is concrete underscore core underscore fitness. You start typing in concrete core fitness, I'm gonna be the first one to pop up, LLC and trademark. So yeah, you can find me there if you want to check out the apparel. Concrete underscore apparel at Instagram. Same tag on Facebook. You can definitely find me there. Like I said, Saturday, April 15th, we have the Concrete Queen all female fitness competition, and also too for the podcast. It's the Concrete Exchange podcast, streaming on all platforms. We just put up our first full video on YouTube, so you can head over there and subscribe. Type in Concrete Exchange podcast, and that's kind of where I'm at, what I'm doing, man.
Bro, again, as always, man, I appreciate you taking that time out. Everybody, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on any of your podcast platforms, make sure to look below, check out the description because we'll make sure to have all of these links in there so you can see what he's got going on, so you can connect with him, follow his journey, reach out to him. And man, again, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, man. It was my pleasure. Appreciate it, man. Really love what you're doing out here too.
Appreciate that.